Most of us have learned that tens of millions of years ago, our planet was inhabited by giant lizards from feature or animated films. In them, they acted as positive or negative heroes. Dinosaurs could also be minor characters or act as background to the story. But in each work, they were depicted differently. Today, we'll talk about the evolution of dinosaurs on the screen and where they turned out to be closest to their real appearance. Subscribe to the Age of Dinosaurs channel. This will allow you to be the first to know about new publications. We also encourage our viewers to more actively express their opinions in the comments under each video. In addition, your likes will help promote the channel and expand its audience. We could say that the first appearance of dinosaurs on the screen occurred simultaneously in both cinema and animation. In 1914, a short film, Jurdy the Dinosaur, was made. According to the plot of the film, one of the first animators, Winsor McCay, brings to life the skeleton of a brontosaurus from a museum on a dare. He does this using animation. Before this, the artist drew dinosaurs in various comics. Jurdy was not only the first animated dinosaur, but also the first cartoon character in history. She has her own bright character and expresses emotions. The cartoon brontosaurus corresponds to scientific ideas about dinosaurs in the early 20th century. Jurdy, at the request of the animator, follows simple commands and interacts with the audience. Several thousand drawings were created during the creation of this short cartoon. The author paid attention to the smallest details, such as pressing the soil when walking. The cartoon about Jurdy the Dinosaur was a breakthrough in animation technology of its time. An unidentified aquatic lizard with a long neck also appears in the frame. This film could even have a sequel. In 1921, the film Jurdy's Travels was made, but its full version is considered lost. Now, only isolated fragments have survived. According to the plot, Jurdy was supposed to visit New York and Washington, swing on the Brooklyn Bridge, and taste the Washington Monument. Jurdy also left her mark on real science. One of the holotypes of a primitive theropod, Chindezora, is unofficially named in her honor. For more than 100 years, a huge number of films, TV series, and cartoons have been shot in which dinosaurs appear. Among them are several works that have become iconic for the entire world culture. The Ghost of Sleepy Mountain, 1918. Clocking in at less than 20 minutes, the silent film was the first dinosaur movie to be produced with the assistance of a scientific consultant. Its creator, Willis O'Brien, was advised by the legendary Barnum Brown. Therefore, puppet dinosaurs are shown in the film in full accordance with the latest scientific discoveries. The plot tells how the writer and artist Jack Holmes fell asleep during an expedition to the mysterious Sleepy Mountain. In a dream, he saw the ghost of a hermit who lived in a hut on the slope of this mountain. He showed the traveler a mysterious optical device through which one can observe pictures from bygone eras. First, the writer was able to observe the brontosaurus. Then he saw how the terrible bird, Phororhacos, was hunting a snake. The hero of the film says that he saw a world 40 million years distant from us in time. Here, they apparently follow Brown, which is a little mistaken. Modern data says that dinosaurs became extinct 65 to 66 million years ago, and Phororhacos appeared about 20 million years ago. The key moment of the film was the battle between two Triceratops and the attack on one of them by the main predator of the dinosaur era, the Tyrannosaurus. Barnum Brown was the man who discovered this dinosaur to the whole world. Triceratops and T-Rex dolls are made quite similar to reconstructions from the beginning of the last century. They move and behave correctly when confronted with each other. The Lost World, 1925. The first film adaptation of Arthur Conan Doyle's famous science fiction novel was also directed by Willis O'Brien. A group of researchers led by Professor Challenger sets off in search of the mysterious Maple White Plateau. It's located in an unexplored part of the African jungle. Thanks to complete isolation from the outside world, dinosaurs were preserved on it. At the same time, the distant ancestors of humans also live next to dinosaurs. The film features a large number of long-necked sauropods. Most likely, it was a collective image of dinosaurs of this species. Viewers were also able to see a battle between two large theropods, apparently one of which was supposed to depict the Tyrannosaurus rex. The Tyrannosaurus also attacks the traveler's camp, a Triceratops, and an unidentified pterosaur. All models were made of rubber and moved using hinges. Their appearance was based on the famous drawings of paleontologist Charles Knight. These images were considered the most reliable throughout the first half of the last century. The Triceratops in the film shown to be simply gigantic in size. He looks no less than a T-Rex. Moreover, the three-horned dinosaur was able to defeat one predator, but died from the teeth of a second. Immediately after the victory, the Tyrannosaurus catches a large pterosaur in flight. When viewing it, a modern viewer may well get the impression that its creators tried to stuff in all the dinosaurs studied at that time. Many of them looked and behaved quite strangely, but for people who watched The Lost World almost 100 years ago, it was very entertaining and exciting. This is confirmed by box office receipts. This film became the first in history to earn more than $1 million at the box office. King Kong 1933 and 2005. In our review, we could not ignore this popular franchise. The main character of a series of science fiction films is a giant ape. They live on an island lost in the ocean and is a deity for the locals. The plot revolves around a group of travelers who visit the island in order to search for the mysterious King Kong. One of the monster's main rivals is also a miraculously preserved descendant of the Tyrannosaurus rex, Vastosaurus rex. In the first film, made in 1933, the giant figures are made in the form of dolls. The skin of the Vastosaurus is covered with scales that more closely resemble the armor of a crocodile. No less funny is the moment when he scratches his head with his short front paw. It's unlikely that the body structure of a tyrannosaurid allowed such movements. In the more recent 2005 remake from Peter Jackson, Kong is attacked by three Vastosaurus. Both the monkey and the dinosaurs are created using computer graphics. Theropods are depicted in accordance with the canonical image from Jurassic Park. Thanks to modern technology, the monsters move more realistically and the battles more dynamic. The Monster from 20,000 Fathoms, 1953. In the 50s of the last century, the use of nuclear weapons as a topic was very relevant. The first in a series of such films was the American science fiction blockbuster The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms in 1953. For him, the scriptwriters came up with a non-existent species of dinosaur, Retosavra. The body shape of this monster resembled an iguanodon, which in fact was not even a dinosaur. Retosaurus was distinguished by its large size, the absence of a sail on its back, and the ability to exist underwater. Moreover, as the plot progressed, the monster regularly rose to its hind legs. The filmmakers were inspired by Ray Bradbury's short story, Howler. In it, two lighthouse workers observe a giant dinosaur-like creature at sea. In one episode of the film, the Retosaurus even destroys a lighthouse. This monster awoke from hibernation in the Antarctic ice after nuclear tests were conducted there. The main character of the film was one of the scientists who conducted these tests. While the dinosaur sinking ships and destroying coastal structures, he and his associates are trying to reach leading paleontologists and the military. The authorities begin to take active action only when the monster appears in New York. In addition to its enormous size and sharp teeth, the dinosaur poses another threat to humans. His blood contains a dangerous virus. Therefore, you can't kill him with conventional weapons. You can only defeat the dinosaur by shooting a radioactive charge at it, which also kills the virus. Godzilla, 1954 and 1998. When covering cinematic dinosaurs, we can't ignore another famous franchise. The first film about a 50-meter dinosaur with radioactive breath was filmed in Japan in 1954. Over the years, there have been numerous Godzilla sequels and remakes, and two of them, in 1962 and 2021, even became King Kong's rival. In the original script, Godzilla didn't even look like a dinosaur. Its Japanese name is a combination of the words whale and gorilla. It's believed that the creators of the monster were initially inspired by the series of films about King Kong. By that time, 3 films had already been made about the adventures of the giant ape. Moreover, one of them was made in Japan. It was decided to change the appearance of the monster after the success of The Monster from 20,000 Fathoms. But the writers left the name unchanged. Moreover, the word Godzilla is an option for Western distribution. In Japanese, it sounds a little different. This huge dinosaur, vaguely similar to a theropod from the era of dinosaurs, awakened in the depths of the ocean after underwater nuclear explosions. Apparently, he received his superpower in the form of nuclear breathing after radiation exposure. This very first film is very different from the sequels and remakes that followed, except that the 1998 version is a little reminiscent of the original. In the first part of the franchise, Godzilla is the personification of the destructive power of nuclear weapons. For American release, references to the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were made a little softer, but the pain of the Japanese from the tragedy they experienced is felt in every frame. And in the 1998 remake, Godzilla isn't even a dinosaur. The monster appeared as a result of radioactive exposure of iguanas during nuclear tests in Polynesia. To create the image of a giant reptile in the first film, a rubber suit weighing about 100 kilograms was used. It was worn by actor Haruo Nakajima, and to create the effect of the enormous size of the monster, miniature cities and ships were built. Subsequent films used a variety of techniques from puppet animatronics to computer graphics. It's noteworthy that in the 1998 film, the monster, descending from an iguana, is most similar to a dinosaur. Although the film was poorly received by critics and Japanese fans, the giant dinosaur behaves as a Tyrannosaurus Rex might. For example, there's no doubt that after Jurassic Park, the technology for creating dinosaurs in films was already sufficiently developed. 1 million years BC, 1966. This film is known to a wide audience primarily for the image of actress Raquel Welch in a fur bikini. But despite all the ahistorical nature of the film, the special effects in it were done very well for its time. It also contains a considerable number of dinosaurs and other prehistoric creatures. They're implemented as reliably as possible and correspond to the scientific ideas of that period. The film itself is a remake of the 1940 work of the same name. The action takes place in a fictional time. Animals from the era of dinosaurs, primitive cavemen, and Homo sapiens coexist in it. As the story progresses, the heroes encounter the following creatures. Metrodiochirus is a huge warthog up to 1.5 meters long, which lived on the Pliocene-Pleistocene boundary in Africa. Megalania is an Australian monitor lizard, extinct for 40,000 years and growing up to 5.5 meters in length. Archelon, a giant turtle that weighed more than 2 tons, lived in the seas that covered the United States 80.5 million years ago. Brontosaurus is a sauropod with a body length of up to 22 meters and a weight of up to 15 tons, which lived in North America at the end of the Jurassic period. Allosaurus is a large predatory theropod up to 10 meters long and weighing up to 2.5 tons, which lived there at the same time. Triceratops, a 3-horned herbivorous dinosaur from the late Cretaceous period that grew up to 8 meters in length and weighed up to 9 tons. Ceratosaurus, a predatory theropod up to 7 meters long and weighing up to 700 kilograms from the Jurassic period. Pteranodon is a pterosaur that lived in North America approximately 85 million years ago. Its wingspan reached 7 meters and it weighed only 20 kilograms. Rhamphorhynchus is a small piscivorous pterosaur with a wingspan of no more than 180 centimeters that lived throughout almost all of Europe and North Africa about 150 million years ago. All these creatures from different eras actively fought with people and each other throughout the film. Director Don Chaffee was regularly criticized for taking such liberties with science, but he replied that he made this film not for scientists, but for the common viewer. At the same time, the prehistoric creatures themselves were realized on the screen simply superbly. They were created by the recognized master of special effects, Ray Harryhausen. If Metrodiochirus, Megalania, and a giant spider were played by an ordinary warthog, iguana, and tarantula, then dolls acted as dinosaurs. They looked great on camera and moved realistically. Thanks to competent editing, it was possible to perfectly combine them in the frame with human actors. The Land That Time Forgot, 1975. An adaptation of one of the novels by science fiction writer Edgar Burroughs, written in 1918. The book and film take place during the First World War. In the story, a German submarine torpedoes an English ship. While fleeing, British sailors and passengers unexpectedly capture the submarine. Together with the remaining Germans, they land on an island lost in the ocean. It further turns out that not only ancient people, but also many animals from various geological eras were miraculously preserved on the island. On their way, the heroes meet 8 creatures from the era of dinosaurs. Among them are both predatory theropods, such as Ceratosaurus or Tyrannosaurus, and herbivores. Also featured in the film are pterodactyls and a giant crocodilomorph representing Deinosa, but they were implemented much worse than in the film 1 million years BC, which was filmed 9 years earlier. To create predatory bipedal dinosaurs, costumes that people wore were used. If such technologies were justified in Godzilla 1954, here it looked cheap and not natural. Four-legged herbivores were depicted by movable dolls, and since they didn't need to move much in the frame, they look more interesting than other dinosaurs. Jurassic Park 1993. A real revolution in the depiction of dinosaurs in cinema was made by the first film of Steven Spielberg's famous franchise, Jurassic Park. Viewers saw live dinosaurs on screen for the first time. They were truly scary and deadly. According to the plot of the film, billionaire John Hammond was able to recreate real dinosaurs using genetic engineering. He's going to open an amusement park on a tropical island and show tourists these long-extinct lizards. Before the park opens, he invites a group of scientists to explore the island. But due to bad weather, electric fences and enclosures with predators are switched off. People have to fight a living nightmare from the distant past of our planet. Images of dinosaurs were created in accordance with the latest scientific ideas about them. The perfect combination of high-quality moving puppets and computer graphics literally brought dinosaurs to life on the screen. This is exactly how they remained in subsequent films in this series. Even the 1999 documentary series Walking with Dinosaurs made no attempt to show dinosaurs with feathers. Although at that time the presence of feathers in some of them had already been proven. It's also long been clear that Tyrannosaurus and other lizards could not growl. Spielberg's film set the highest standard for several decades. Probably no other director's yet been able to surpass him. 65 million years ago, 2023. In the 30 years since the release of Jurassic Park, special effects technology in cinema has advanced very, very seriously. Nowadays, with the help of computer programs, you can create any monster and make it move very naturally. And in general, the lizards in this film are made very well. But when watching it, there's a strong belief that the creators did not even try to seek advice from specialists. Not only did the film about the end of the age of dinosaurs show virtually no dinosaurs, none of them could be clearly identified. And a Tyrannosaurus running on four legs, as they say, does not fit into any gaze. It turns out that at the beginning of the film era, the creators of dinosaurs tried to make them consistent with the scientific knowledge of their time, and this trend reached its peak in the 90s of the 20th century. With the development of technology and scientific knowledge, dinosaurs behaved more and more naturally. Even fictional dinosaurs were in many ways similar to their prototypes. True, recently there's been a tendency to create extremely unhistorical monsters, but I'd like to believe that someday the viewer will be interested not only in following the development of the plot, but also in the realism and logic of the worlds created by directors and screenwriters. We thank the viewers who watched this episode to the very end. If you're interested in learning about other films in which dinosaurs appear, then write about it in the comments, and you can get acquainted with the life of real dinosaurs and other prehistoric animals using our previous videos.